Howdy, Broncos country. Mace here to talk about what went on with the Broncos on Wednesday, specifically putting together the practice squad. They got all 16 players named to the practice squad and maybe a few mild surprises, including the fact that none of the undrafted receivers they had ended up on the practice squad. Now, we'll start with a player who wasn't a surprise at all, Sam Ehlinger at quarterback. Now, what may have been a surprise was that he had some offers, but he chose to stay in Denver. Some offers to be on the 53. But if you listen to what he said after the game in New Orleans last Saturday, he sort of telegraphed that he really wanted to be with the Broncos.
I love being here. I love the quarterback room. I love this team. I'm really excited for the direction that I think this organization is headed. I was in Indianapolis for the last 4 years and loved my time there, but coming here with the quarterback room, starting with Davis and being able to spend time with Bo and Jarrett and just this team in general, I think it's really well formulated, and obviously organizationally I think it's from top down one of the best organizations in the league. So it's been great to be here, and I've really enjoyed it.
Let's take a look at that practice squad. First, we'll start with the players on offense. Michael Bandy leading it off, and it's interesting with Michael Bandy. They did not go with any of the undrafted receivers. They were interested in bringing Courtney Jackson back, but the Broncos dawdled a little bit and didn't get the offer into him quickly enough, and Seattle pounced on Courtney Jackson, who of course had a good preseason on returns. Michael Bandy coming back, he's a familiar face, and hey, find somebody who loves you the way that Broncos coaches love Michael Bandy on that practice squad. There's Sam Ehlinger, of course. Caleb Lohner, the 7th-round draft pick, he passed through waivers. The preseason film wasn't that good, so the Broncos will keep him around, keep that development going. Joe Michalski, offensive lineman, he had a tough go of it early in camp. Some bad snaps, but overcame that, and he's going to stick around, beating out Clay Webb, for example. Clay Webb landed with the Tennessee Titans on their practice squad. A.T. Perry, a guy that I've talked about quite a bit. The Broncos had him on the practice squad last year. They continue his development. He, of course, missed time in the offseason with an injury. Adam Prentice, this year's Michael Burton. Michael Burton out, of course, for the season with a hamstring injury. Adam Prentice will probably get early season elevations, and then don't be surprised if he's on the 53. And then Calvin Throckmorton, you've seen him on the practice squad, of course. Last year, he's back on the roster this time around on the practice squad roster. On to the defensive side, Lavelle Bailey passed through waivers. He's on the practice squad again. Jordan Miller returns. Quentin Newsome, Jaden Robinson there. Keydron Smith, he returns from last year. So does Reese Taylor. Jordan Turner, he successfully passed through waivers and is back on the practice squad. Delarian Turner-Yell, he passed through as well. And Garrett Wallow, who joined the team in training camp, a veteran who's going to be on the practice squad as well. Now, Karene Reed, the Broncos did not think he would pass through waivers. That was a big part of why the Broncos kept him on the 53 as this year's undrafted rookie on the 53. But Riley Moss mentions that there was something else that caught teammates' eye about the 25-year-old rookie linebacker.
You know, me and Brandon Jones talk when we watch our film, throughout camp, who is this kid? He moves around really well, and he's smart. He understands the defense. He's 25 years old. Didn't realize he was 25. That's crazy. But moves around well, and I'm excited for him. It's really cool that he was able to make the team.
Moss spoke with media after Wednesday's practice, and it was a practice that had the full team because the practice squad was set, unlike Tuesday, when, of course, you only had the 53-player roster, and that means it's a little bit of an unusual week, and the Broncos will have a Thursday morning practice before they skedaddle for what effectively is a bye weekend. So this week without a game requires a little bit of a different focus.
I think, this week is like the longest week of the year just because guys are ready to roll, and the biggest thing about this week is making sure you don't take any steps back, making sure you're still approaching practice how you should, because it is kind of a trap week, you know what I mean? Like, you can take it as, we don't have a game this week, but, we're taking it, we're attacking it, and we're going to be ready to roll next week.
On the field on Wednesday, the other big news, of course, was Marvin Mims Jr. not finishing practice. He had a groin injury. The Broncos were getting it looked at after practice, but it was not something that appeared to concern them all that much. So keep an eye on that, but Broncos not too concerned about Marvin Mims Jr. going forward. Of course, it was an interesting note given that the Broncos expected primary return option Courtney Jackson. They didn't get him through to their practice squad. He ended up signing with the Seattle Seahawks. Also worth noting, some of the Broncos who landed on other practice squads around the league. Audric Estime right there. He's with the Philadelphia Eagles. Sam Franklin Jr. with the Buffalo Bills. Looks like they're going to elevate him a few times and put him on their 53. So if and when that happens, the Broncos will get some offset language kicking in and get some salary cap relief. Mentioned Courtney Jackson to the Seattle Seahawks, and Clay Webb. The Broncos waived him on Monday. He will land with the Tennessee Titans. More to come on Thursday because we're going to hear from George Paton on Thursday morning talking about the moves at the deadline. And then more to come on Thursday. We'll hear from George Paton talking about the moves at the deadline. And then, of course, the Broncos have that Thursday morning practice and then scatter for the weekend. We'll have all of that covered at denversports.com and on Orange and Blue Today at 5 p.m. on Thursday. Talk to you next time. Until then, take care, and thanks for watching.